what does it actually mean to yearn? Well, looking up on the dictionary for Cambridge.org, yearning is a strong feeling of wishing for something, especially something that you cannot have easily. And yearning doesn't just specifically cater to romance or yearning for someone or yearning for a relationship. It can mean a lot of things. I yearn for a Porsche, a GT3 RS. That's what I really do yearn for. But still, I feel like more so these days, it's really being more catered to and really attached to yearning for someone, being in love with someone and yearning for that person, even though you can't really have them, or it's very hard to obtain it. Whether it's yearning for a girl in your class or for your ex or for some person walking down the street or yearning for the idea of a relationship. Yearning can mean a lot of different things, but it's really right now being more catered to romance. And since Valentine's Day is tomorrow, I decided it wouldn't be a better excuse for me to talk about more romance films than to go through my 20 films I think are really good for people who yearn. And maybe if you're alone on Valentine's Day or if you're in a relationship, then hey, I have some film recs for you in this episode. And I do have 20, and there's going to be some things here that you're questioning. Where are they? Where are these movies? And they're going to be in the honorable mentions. So going into our honorable picks for this episode, number 1 is La La Land. And I know you're saying, what? You're making a list about yearning, but not having La La Land? What's wrong with you? Well, listen, La La Land, it gets mentioned a lot. I really do love that movie a lot more than you know. I have it on 4K, the Steelbook. I watch it a lot. I gave it 5 out of 5. It's a great movie. It's a fantastic film, but it's mentioned too much. I feel like there's a bit of fatigue for La La Land, and I wanted to give some more love to different films besides that one. And the same with The Notebook. The Notebook is another movie that I watched that movie last week. I love that film, but still, I think that it's a little bit of fatigue. It's mentioned a lot, and I would like to kind of diversify the film recommendations for this year. Last year, I talked about those movies, and if you want to, was it last year? No, I think it was actually 2024 or 5. I'm not sure. Whatever. I talked about it previously when I went through my top 20 romance films of all time, and that was a pretty good list and a pretty good episode. You should listen to that too. But still, The Notebook and La La Land aren't here. And in addition to that, it's not in my notes, but there's some miniseries that I really do enjoy. Number 1 is the incredible show with Paul Mescal and Daisy Edgar Jones. Normal People is a really good miniseries. You definitely watch it. It's not here in this list today. And also One Day on Netflix is really good. Another miniseries for romance and for yearning that you would also really enjoy. But with those honorable picks out of the way, we're going to be going through my personal pick for 20 really good films for people who actually yearn. And we're going to be going through it in alphabetical order. So it's not ranked. It's in alphabetical order. That I feel like is the best way to do this episode. So let's go into it with the first pick. And my first pick and recommendation for you is 500 Days of Summer. I feel like I'll talk about this movie a lot more than I really should without even having its own full episode. But I've watched this movie a good bit of times. I've watched it a few times now, and I've definitely grown to understand it more each time I watch it. It's definitely, you can think on the first watch, you think that it's the girl's fault. It's Summer's fault for leading Tom on, which she definitely does that a bit. But still, when you watch it again, you find out that it's more so Tom's fault. Tom is the reason that this whole movie is here. He's very violently yearning for this girl who time and time again, shows that she's not really interested in him, but still he takes his yearning and he decides to weaponize it and really goes down a very toxic and dark path with it. So it's a movie about yearning, but it shows the darker sides of what yearning can really do for you and how it can really affect you in a negative way. I think Mark Webb did an amazing job with this movie. He's obviously done the Amazing Spider-Man films, which I really do enjoy, and Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Zooey Deschanel, they're both incredible here. Were the 2 leads for this movie. And going to the second pick, I do have Atonement from Joe Wright. This movie is incredible. It's one of the best plot twists, or at least one of the, I think it's a plot twist that you're not going to expect coming at all. It's not going to be in your radar at all with the plot twist. I really do enjoy throwing that kind of curveball towards the audience. But James McAvoy, Keira Knightley, the chemistry is insane. The screenplay is tragic. And I love this movie. I have it on Blu-ray. That's how much I love the movie. And I really am probably going to watch it on Valentine's Day. If you listen to this right now, I might have it on my 30-inch TV and might be crying by how tragic this film is, and it's incredible. I gave it 9 out of 10. If you haven't seen it, you really should. And for the third pick in our whole thing about yearning, and it's number one, it's in alphabetical order, but number two is that this is Before Sunset. This is my pick for this next one. Richard Linklater, Before Sunset. It's the second movie within the Before trilogy. Right now, it's my favorite in the Before trilogy. And I won't spoil exactly what the second entry in this trilogy is, because you should watch the first Before movie, Before Sunrise, which is about two kids, running around in a different country, talking a lot throughout the entire night, and just having one night together, and building chemistry, building romance, building this kind of yearning that really does kind of spiral and transfold inside of the second film, Before Sunset. So I won't be exactly spoiling what happens after this 9-year gap between these two different movies, but if you haven't seen the Before trilogy, it's really good. Before Sunset is one of the best sequels in film history. I think that the Before trilogy is one of the best trilogies of all time. Dare I say the best? I mean, Lord of the Rings is still out there, so I can't say that this is the best trilogy ever, if that still exists, but it's definitely maybe like top 5 trilogy of all time, without a doubt, no question. Full stop, it's that good. And for my next pick, I do have maybe the most iconic romance film on this list, maybe the most iconic romance film of all time, Brokeback Mountain. Brokeback Mountain is really, I don't think it's like it's like in my top 20 for romance, around that area. But it's not that good for me, but still, I think that it's definitely, in terms of how iconic it is and how memorable, how many fans it has, this is probably up there, for the most iconic, and rightfully so. It stars Heath Ledger before he passed away, very sad, and Jake Gyllenhaal in there also, with Michelle Williams and Hathaway. It's really good. Ang Lee did an incredible job with this movie, and it's very hard to watch on second watch, maybe because of Jake Gyllenhaal and Heath Ledger just having such incredible chemistry, or Heath Ledger passing away. It's a very hard film to watch, and very sad as well. It paved the way for so many different kind of romance films. Not even just talking about if we go into more kind of pride movies, but if we're talking about romance films about yearning, this is definitely one of those films that it really hits hard. It hits hard. I've only seen it one time. I gave it 9 out of 10, respectfully, but it's hard to watch. It's a very sad movie, and I really do enjoy it. Definitely a clear film that's about yearning and how yearning can really kind of be sad sometimes as well. And it definitely paved the way for a lot of the films on this list, like our next one, which is Call Me By Your Name. And this is a top 3 for me when it comes to romance films. It's top 2. Number 1 is La La Land still, but number 2 is definitely Call Me By Your Name. Armie Hammer, Timothée Chalamet giving another, really iconic and incredible Timothée Chalamet performance. The incredible Luca Guadagnino directing, the incredible score. This movie has also really good cinematography, probably shot on film. It looks incredible. It looks scrumptious. This whole entire summer vibe and looking like an older movie, but setting place in modern day. Very recently, I was at my friend's house, and he just mentioned to me how this movie, it looks older, but it's in modern day. The way they shot the movie, the way they edited the movie, it feels like it's an older movie, but it was released in 2017, and it stars Timothée Chalamet, who was in his 20s when he shot this movie. And it's really good. I definitely do agree with him there. The movie, it takes place in the 80s, and it feels like it's an 80s movie. It doesn't really kind of go out of leading into the, uncanny valley territory when it comes to cinematography. It feels like it's setting and it's surrounding, which is really good. And I know that the cast is maybe a little bit controversial these days, with Armie Hammer being essentially blacklisted for some allegations I'll let you discover on your own time. But still, regardless of that, it's still incredible. Timothée Chalamet proved he was really that kind of actor. That's going to be the next big thing. And looking at 2026, he is the next big thing. So it's deservingly so of that kind of take. And Call Me By Your Name, one of my favorites. I gave it 5 out of 5. I have it on Blu-ray. If you haven't seen it, if you're a yearner, if you believe in yearning, watch this film as soon as you possibly can. And with this next movie maybe potentially being the oldest film on the list, I think it is the oldest film on the list, releasing in 1942, Casablanca from Michael Curtis, This movie is awesome. It's really good, and it's a true classic. It's stand the test of time. It's a timeless, incredible film. Doesn't matter, when this movie released, it still holds up in quality with the incredible acting, the incredible screenplay. It's awesome. It's all around. It's an incredible movie. I gave it 9 out of 10. I remember I watched it a while ago when I was in high school, and it didn't really hit for me. I wasn't really paying attention that much. But now that I'm older and I'm more mature, I rewatched it, and this movie is really, really good. I know that a lot of the times movies are really popular just because of nostalgia and this, that, and the third. But this movie really does live up well. It does hold up very well with its quality, with its story, with its characters. It's very sad. It's a romance film about yearning, also about letting go as well. But I do love it. If I look around at a lot of different kind of romance films, I can definitely tell that Casablanca shaped the influence and shaped the kind of stories we get today, which I do always appreciate. So if you haven't seen Casablanca, it's definitely a little bit of homework. It's an older movie. It's not like it's a newer film, but still, it's a must watch. You at least watch it one time in your life, and I'll be happy with you. And this next movie on my list recently actually broke into my top 5 for my romance ranking, and that movie is Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind with Jim Carrey and Kate Winslet. This is just such a good movie. I mean, I really do love this movie. And Jim Carrey, I feel like in Eternal Sunshine and also in The Truman Show, he showed the world, I'm not just a comedic actor. I have the kind of chops and range to be a really serious, dramatic actor. And I always kind of, not hate, but it is kind of like a cliche movie. You hear a lot of people talk about it. Eternal Sunshine is one of my favorites of all time. It's really one of my favorite movies of all time. You hear it all the time, right? But it truly is just so good. It is cliche for a reason. I gave it 9 out of 10. I adore this movie so much. It kind of is sad, yearning for someone, or almost reactionary after a breakup can be, I hate this person, especially this kind of breakup in the movie is, I hate this person, I don't like this person, I want to forget about them, and trying to just out of anger scoop out and forget the memory of someone can be very heartbreaking. And then in the action, in the middle of trying to forget about someone, almost coming to the point of just regretfulness and almost fear of forgetting someone. I think that it is just kind of a testament to how special it is to have someone in your life that you really care about, and have someone that, yeah, things may not have worked out and maybe you're going to yearn for a while, but just the beautiful act of having someone in your life that you truly found a way to really care about, to the point where after that person's out of your life, you're truly sad about them and sad about them being gone. That's a very special kind of emotion that I think is a blessing to really have. Eternal Sunshine definitely deserves about 40 minutes of its own kind of praise, but I'll let you watch the movie. Be the judge. I'm not sure exactly where you can stream this right now, but it is definitely an absolute must-watch if you're a big-time yearner. And with this next movie on the list, it is a film that I am way too addicted to. I've watched this movie way too much. I obsess over this film way too much, and that is Rob Reiner's Flipped. And no, as an early response and a kind of a spoiler, there is no When Harry Met Sally on this list. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but out of respect for Rob Reiner, he's the GOAT. Rest in peace to the GOAT Rob Reiner. He made this movie, Flipped. It is definitely one of his lesser popular films. I feel like it's a very niche, very, very niche fan base for this movie. But if you haven't seen this movie, it's on Netflix. Whatever you're doing right now, just go watch it. It's less than 2 hours long. It's a very just kind of cute and cliche romance about two kids falling in love, the love at first sight thing, the girl across the street that I really do fall in love with. It's that kind of story. And it's just so cliche. It's so, maybe you can say maybe bland at times, but the way Rob Reiner constructs it and executes it makes it so much better. He was truly the GOAT. I gave it 8 out of 10. If I watch it again, it'll go up to a 9 out of 10. I just know that for a fact, knowing myself. And it's incredible. It's a really good movie. Flipped is that kind of movie. If you haven't seen it, you're doing a lot of mistakes to yourself by not seeing it. The next one up is The Great Gatsby. And it's the timeless, iconic story. But maybe the most iconic and timeless thing is just how much of a yearner when it comes to Great Gatsby. The Gatsby in this movie, he was like the top 1% in yearning for someone. I mean, throwing these big, massive parties all the time just to get that one girl's attention. And, this is in the time before social media. In today's level of yearning, all yearning means in 2026 is just posting on your story, trying to get your ex to see your story and trying to get your ex's attention. That's all that yearning really is in this day and age. But Great Gatsby, he went to lengths and bounds to truly get her attention. I mean, if I was in love with Carey Mulligan, I'd do the same thing, but that's for another day. Still, I don't like this movie. I know I have it in this list. I only gave it 2 out of 5. I really disliked Baz Luhrmann's directing style. I know that he is very distinct in his movies. I've seen Elvis. Only he can do Elvis like that. And Baz Luhrmann, I'm not the biggest fan of how he did Gatsby. Showing from my score, I gave it 2 out of 5, but still, iconic story. Leonardo DiCaprio is being Leonardo DiCaprio the best way he can. It's not the most iconic. I feel like that goes to Wolf of Wall Street, but still, Leonardo DiCaprio, Tobey Maguire, and Carey Mulligan, all of them doing just great things in this movie. If you haven't seen it, you definitely should. You may not like it, but the story is iconic and timeless, so you should definitely give it a watch and check it out. Next up on the yearning list is maybe, I wouldn't say my favorite movie on this list. It might be, but still, Little Women is on this list here when it comes to yearning, when it comes to being a top yearner. It's kind of controversial, I feel like. A lot of people don't agree that Laurie was a top yearner, but I mean, look at him. Look at Timothée Chalamet in this movie, truly obsessing over Saoirse Ronan. And going for her sister was kind of a weird move, but still, when it comes to yearning, that scene with Laurie and Joe on the hill is one of the best scenes ever, I think, in film history. It's such beautiful written dialogue. Greta Gerwig is just the GOAT. And I said it in my review for this movie. I wrote it on Letterboxd. I said that Greta Gerwig, she has a great career in front of her. She is doing Chronicles of Narnia. She's going to be doing those movies, and she's going to be doing a lot of great films in her career. She's just getting started. She did a great job with Barbie, and all of her movies she did a really good job, but she's on a great streak right now. But she most likely can never make a movie as good as Little Women. That's how much I love the movie. I obsess over it. I have it on Blu-ray. I watched it a couple of times last month, give it 5 stars. I most likely will watch it tonight or tomorrow night, and I'll give it 5 stars again. I love this movie. I love it a lot. And the yearning aspect for this movie, yearning not only for someone, but yearning for maybe your career, you're yearning for a better life for yourself. That's what makes the movie just so, so good. I love it. It takes a story, does something so cool with it. It breaks all of the cliche kind of boundaries with this kind of story and makes something truly special. So to Greta Gerwig, thank you. To Little Women, if you haven't seen it, please watch it. It's a great movie. Buy it on Blu-ray if you have to. It's that much so worth it, at least for me, because I gave it 5 stars. It's definitely by far her best movie so far. And next on our list for yearning here, we're almost done here, about halfway through, is The Materialist. So The Materialist came out last year, and it's just kind of like the cliche love triangle movie. A young woman, ambitious New York City matchmaker, finds herself torn between the perfect match and her imperfect ex. Dakota Johnson, Chris Evans, and Pedro Pascal. I know, maybe you're too tired of seeing Pedro Pascal. You saw him in like 5 movies last year, and now you see him on Sunday at the Super Bowl with Bad Bunny. It's crazy. But still, Pedro Pascal, he's that kind of guy in Hollywood that we're never going to stop seeing for a while here. So please just get used to him. But in The Materialist, it's such a not so different because it's a love triangle film. We've seen so many kind of love triangle movies, but I still love this movie a lot. I love what the Celine song finds herself able to do with movies. Just that incredible score from Daniel Pemberton to the incredible cinematography as well. She finds a way to break the mold and break out of the love triangle, the romance kind of plots that we've seen a lot in film history, and does something truly special with these kind of films. And she did a great job with The Materialist. So yeah, if you haven't seen already, as a yearner, you really should. Next up on the list, I do have kind of a curveball. I have Nosferatu from Robert Eggers, 2024. And I know you're saying, what are you talking about right now? But, I mean, listen, a vampire is yearning for this woman. It's yearning. It's harmful. He did kill a lot of people, but it is still yearning to some sense. And I wanted to throw in some more genres here. We don't just have romance, we have horror as well. And this movie, I feel like the world moved on way too fast from Nosferatu for some reason. So I wanted to give some more love to this movie. I have only seen the film one time. I saw it one time in Dolby, and that was it. But I truly did adore this movie. And if you haven't seen Nosferatu already, it is a different kind of yearning, but you might be in the mood for a horror film, so watch it, because I think you'll really like it. And after Nosferatu, the weird curveball, I do have back into the scheduled programming the film that I wouldn't say it's my favorite of the decade so far, but maybe the film that I obsess, maybe like top 3 I obsess over it the most for this decade. Past Lives, Celine Song, 5 out of 5, perfect movie. This is one of the best films of all time. It's one of my favorites of all time. I have it on Blu-ray on my shelf right over there, and I adore this movie. I adore this story. Breaking the mold when it comes to past lives and having someone in your life previously that maybe things didn't work out that well, but the fact that they were in your life for a certain reason, whatever that reason may be, here or there. It's beautiful. It's just such a beautiful story. I don't know what kind of story, what kind of romance movie does what this film does. It does it better than La La Land, I say. I was very close last night to putting it at the number 1 for my list. La La Land is still incredible, but Past Lives is maybe even better than La La Land to a sense. Seeing these two childhood friends reunite after decades and having this kind of weirdly unspoken chemistry and connection with them, but knowing and painfully knowing that they just can't be together romantically is what makes the movie. And still having a weird love for someone, a love that may not be like, I love you so much, but a love like, I do love you. I love what you did for me in my life. I love the person I am now because you were in my life previously. Maybe we broke up, maybe we don't talk anymore, but I still love you. I love you in a very weird way to where I'm not in love with you romantically. I know we won't be together romantically, but I still love what you did for me and for my life, and I love who I became because of you, and I'll always love you in that way. That's what Past Lives feels like to me. Very, very special movie. If you haven't watched it already, just please watch this movie. It is absolutely perfect. The next film up on the list here is going to be Portrait of a Lady on Fire. This is a foreign film, so if you're into foreign movies, here you go. It's your time to shine. I hope you're happy. And this movie, it's special. It's a very special movie. It's a very big story. Having this kind of romance story, it's very big. It's a lot to break down. It's a lot to really understand and comprehend. But it's still an incredible film about yearning and love and loving someone so much that it hurts to let them go. That's kind of the type of yearning in this film, which I really do enjoy, and a very special kind of romance film. It's a lot to break down. I'll say that it's better to go into it blind, so I won't say too much about the film, but it's really good, so go watch it. The next film on this list is going to be Pride and Prejudice from Joe Wright. I recently rewatched this a couple days ago-ish now, and I love it even more. I love Keira Knightley. This is number 1 in general, and anything I love her. But I love Matthew McFadden as Mr. Darcy. After you watch this film for the first time, and it's a very old story, so spoiler alert, whatever. Mr. Darcy is in love with Elizabeth Bennet. He's in love with her. He absolutely loves her and adores her. I love when you watch this film for the second, third, fourth, fifth time, if you pay attention to the way Matthew McFadden portrays the character, looking at his cadences, looking at the way when Mr. Darcy is in the room or in being surrounded by Elizabeth Bennet, seeing the way he changes. I really recently noticed the other day when I watched it, I noticed that there's a scene with Mr. Darcy when a servant comes into the room and they say that there's a guest coming in. He's like, all right, sure, whatever. And then the servant again says it's Elizabeth Bennet, his head immediately shakes up, immediately attentive to see what she looks like as she's coming in. He's immediately nervous. You can tell from just that one little thing with that character. It's just things like that. The cadences, the body movements, the way he talks. He has a little slight stutter sometimes when he talks to her. Like, it's just so cool seeing that kind of performance and just truly knowing. On the first watch, you may not really pick up on it and notice it, but on the second, third, fourth, fifth watch, you can notice that Mr. Darcy was truly a big-time yearner for Elizabeth. I definitely feel, when he flexes his hand, multiple generations of women are immediately just like in love with that kind of romance. It's not too realistic, but still, it's important, I think, to just kind of notice and watch this kind of movie. It's very special. It's very special, very beautiful, classic movie. You really should watch it. And continuing on with our list on Yearning, once again, it's in alphabetical order. I'm not trying to make anyone too mad. It is the movie Robot Dreams 2023 from Pablo Berger. This is, I just recommend you listen to the episode I did on this movie. I did a bigger length podcast review for this movie, Robot Dreams. It's one of my favorite films of the decade so far. It is very, very special to me. Just real quick little thing when it comes to this movie. It is a mix of Zootopia, Past Lives, and La La Land all meshed together. You're saying to yourself right now, Logan, that is the weirdest thing I've heard in my entire life. I agree, but it works so incredibly well. I won't say too much. I have a full-length episode on this movie, and I'll probably link it down below. But still, if you haven't seen it already, Robot Dreams. It's a crazy movie. Definitely worth your time. It's absolutely beautiful. And next up on the list, once again, alphabetical order, I do have a movie I just watched recently this month for the very first time, which is Shape of Water from Guillermo del Toro. And he's the GOAT. I wanted to really just kind of mention him around this time. He's being nominated for the Oscar and give him some more love that he definitely deserves. This movie is just super duper cool. I feel like it's blending so many types of genres, so many types of movies, all merged together and all taking different kind of pieces of inspiration from everywhere, just in a big melting pot of a movie, which I really do enjoy. If you haven't seen it already, 1,000 times recommend it. It's super crazy and super cool, and I'm really just in love with what Guillermo del Toro can do with his films. It's so special. I might rewatch it here, maybe tonight. I don't know. We'll see what happens, but still. Shape of Water, super duper cool story. Very, very cool movie. I really do enjoy it, so please watch it. And now, of course, in the home stretch, we only have a couple more to go, but still, our next one, it's just as good, saving the best for last with these last three. The Umbrellas of Cherbourg, 1964. This is the movie that inspired La La Land. To give you some context by why it's so good, it is incredible. Classic. French New Wave is absolutely incredible and classic. If you haven't seen it, just please watch it. That's all I need to say on it. I don't need to really justify it anymore. Films speak for themselves. This movie can do a lot better at convincing you why it's good than I can. So please watch it. The Umbrellas of Cherbourg, and especially if you're trying to get in some more foreign films. If you're not really watching too many foreign films and you really want to, then watch this movie. It is very, very, very good. And our second to last movie, saving the best for last, like I said, I do have WALL-E. This movie I got as a gift for the Criterion edition on 4K. I got this as a gift pretty recently, or a couple years ago, actually, damn. But still, this movie is great, and great example of yearning. And I wanted to kind of just flex around as different portrayals of what yearning can really be, and WALL-E is such a good kind of visual portrayal of what it really can be. These two robots in here yearning for each other. It's very weird, but still, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful classic love story that really does transcend species, even, not going into robots instead of humans. It's super beautiful. I love WALL-E. And for the last movie on the list, it is Your Name. Your Name. I won't say too much about it. It is iconic. It is classic. It is beautiful. It is tragic as well. And if you're an anime person, I wanted to have some kind of love for you here as well with Your Name. If you haven't seen Your Name, not sure what you're doing, please, please, please go watch Your Name. Quickly before we go, I'll just give a quick rundown again of what these films were, and I'll just say it back to you one more time. Number one, it was 500 Days of Summer. Number 2, Atonement. Number 3, Before Sunset. Really the entire Before trilogy, but I'll throw in one here today for Yearning, and it'll be Before Sunset. And for the 4th movie, it is Brokeback Mountain. The 5th, Call Me By Your Name. The 6th is Casablanca. 7th, Eternal Sunshine, The Spotless Mind. The 8th is going to be Flipped. 9th is Great Gatsby. The next one is Little Women from Greta Gerwig, 2019. The Materialist, 2025. Nosferatu from 2024. Past Lives, 2023. The Portrait of a Lady on Fire from 2019. Pride and Prejudice, 2005. Robot Dreams, 2023. Shape of Water, 2017. 1964's The Umbrellas of Cherbourg. 2008's WALL-E from Pixar. And the last one is Your Name from 2016. Those are my films that I think are really good if you're someone who yearns or someone who's lonely on Valentine's Day. You miss your ex, or you're very much so in a spot that you're yearning for a girlfriend right now or a boyfriend. If you're a girl listening to this, I'm sorry. Your sexual orientation, I may not be that aware to it. I'm pretty naive and ignorant in that regard. But still, if you're yearning for a relationship, if you're yearning for your ex back or whatever, then you watch one of these films. You know, they might help you out a bit through this very sad time. But with that out of the way, let me know what is your movie that you personally recommend just for romance and for yearning, or both. I don't know. Let me know what is your favorite yearning or romance film of all time. And until next time, happy Valentine's Day to everyone. This has been another year of a Valentine's Day special for the Court of Cinema podcast, and I'll see you guys in the next one.